destination mark.
Doesn't it feel great now that everything about Crash is up in the air and that Sony and even some people from Activision are finally able to talk about it openly? Like, it's so awesome finally that we get talk about Crash from the people themselves. That is awesome. So hey guys, how's it going? Marcelo here, and we've got some news. It's very, very small, very, very minimal. Kind of harkens back to before the announcement when there was a lot of teases going on, a lot of rumors and whatnot. So now that we have our announcements for E3, Crash is coming to Skylanders, and is also going to be getting an HD remaster for the first 3 games next year. Very recently, a couple days ago, Sony Computer Entertainment of Europe's boss, Jim Ryan, got interviewed, and he's still teasing. So if you saw my now infamous freaking reaction video to the Crash announcement from E3, one of the things I kept saying over and over again, reboot, come on, you gotta give us a reboot. If that one guy who was on Twitter who was leaking shit was telling the truth, we were gonna get 3 themes. The Crash remaster for the trilogy, Crash and Skylanders, and some kind of new game, an announcement for a new Crash game. And all of us have been thinking, well, if there's a new game, it's probably going to have to be a reboot at this point. And seeing the direction that they're taking Crash now with these announcements of bringing him back to basics with how he functioned in the Naughty Dog games and with all the things that he was able to do from the past games, it really, really seems like if there will be a new Crash game at any point in the future, it'll have to be a reboot. At least, again, it's my opinion, but I'm thinking that's kind of where it has to go, because with the direction, the only ties to the latest games, the previous games such as Titans Mind Over Mutant, is the fact that Jess Harnell is Crash's voice in Skylanders, and Greg Eagles is Aku Aku. That's the only real, true tie to Titans Mind Over Mutant. Everything else is pretty much based off of the Naughty Dog stuff, and that's really cool. But if you're going to do a new game, I figure a lot of people are saying that maybe it'll be some kind of another sequel for, to Mind Over Mutant, and it'll continue the Titans saga or whatever. And seeing as how, again, I already have my opinions on those games linked down below, and I don't think they're complete shit like everyone says that they are, but because everyone says that they are, and the point being, those games were mixed, they were not so well received, but it didn't tank, per se. The fact that it was so just mediocre and just kind of meh is why I don't think they're going to want to try and continue that, make a new game in that saga of the 2 previous games. I think it has to be a full-blown reboot. We were going to get Crash Landed in 2010, and that ended up tanking too because the team that was working on that got laid off. So if you're and even that reboot was done in a way of, it didn't really invoke a whole lot of the old school Crash in it. So with the fact that this is the direction they're going with Crash, and there's going to be some kind of so we've got what we've got right now, these announcements, and they're trying to bring them back to basics. Then if you're going to do a reboot, it should be loosely based off the first game. Exactly like I've been saying this entire time, the same way the Ratchet & Clank reboot was handled. They handled it as a very, very loose tie to the first game / a reboot of the first game, and it really feels like that, with levels and planets and areas straight up ripped from that game. And of course remastered to look even better on the PS4 with its amazing graphics. So all we can hope for is that, of course, now that's going to seem a little weird, me saying that the reboot should be loosely based off the first game. And we're already getting the first game redone by Vicarious Visions. It would depend on who's handling this supposed reboot. If it were Vicarious Visions, which I don't know, because if they did that, I'm not against it, I'm just saying that they're already doing so much with Crash right now as it is, that are they really going to want to be the ones to full-blown, I mean they kind of already are, now that I'm thinking about it, the ones to full-blown bring him back. I mean, they're doing that right now. But in terms of giving him new games again, are they going to be the ones to do it, or will someone else try to, take the wheel once again? Are they just going to keep passing Crash down like they've been doing this entire time with the franchise? The reason why I brought up Jim Ryan is because, and saying that he was teasing us once more even after these announcements, is because he says along the lines of, I have the article, off screen, and I quote, "We gotta keep you guys hoping for stuff in the future." I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember it word for word, I just looked at it, but I don't remember it word for word. We have to keep you guys, gotta tease you guys a little. And why would he say that if we're already getting two big things for Crash? Maybe they really are considering doing a reboot, and that's what I'm really, really hoping. Again, you can treat it like the Ratchet & Clank thing, and just make it the first game, or loosely based off the first game, and give us familiar sets, familiar environments, familiar enemies, but maybe you can add more story elements. Because I feel that if they're going to do this, remastered trilogy for Vicarious Visions, if they're doing this remastered trilogy, they're going to keep the story pretty much the same, they're going to keep everything else pretty much the same, and the story for Crash in general was never super, it wasn't like Jack heavy, in terms of like all kinds of shit going down, the world's in great danger, and like there's not a lot of, it's not heavy, like I just said earlier. Jack's plot, for the 3 games, at least for the 2 and 3, got pretty heavy. And even the first game's story was a little bit more, how would I describe that? Jack 1's story, from what they learned of doing story, again, okay, let's say it this way, because now I'm getting a little confused myself. When Naughty Dog handled Crash's story in their games, it was very minimal. It was a basic plot, all you needed to know was that shit was fucked and Crash needed to save the world. That's pretty much it. Gather the crystals. And then that just ties into the gameplay right then and there. With Jack though, they wanted to tell a little bit more of a story. The first game they still kept it simple, but I felt that for Jack 1 it still seemed a little bit more expansive than what they've told for Crash's story, so that's what I was trying to get at. But Jack 2 and 3, it gets heavier and it gets a little darker in tone. I'm not saying let's get a dark-ass Crash game, I'm just saying let's give it a little bit more meat there. I mean, it's kind of the same thing with Mario. Mario's plot has been the same thing every time, but Galaxy 1 and 2 really stepped it up and gave it like some kind of expansive Rosalina's story. You know how that goes. It's fucking sad. And they dared to put more meat onto the story that was already there, and that's cool. That's what I'm asking for. That's what you need right there. Just put a little more meat on those bones for the story for Crash if you're gonna do like a reboot, and make it interesting in the story department, because I'm not saying that Crash was never interesting in the story department, it's simplistic. So either they could keep the simplicity or they can put a little bit more there for us to digest. A lot of meat and food puns for some reason. I'm hungry. So that's what I think. But Jim Ryan though, teasing us with saying we need to tease you guys for a little bit more about what's coming in the future. Now he could be talking about the HD remasters. Who knows? But what I'm thinking is, because we already have those announcements and they're already talking about those announcements anyway, for him to say that there's still more to come in the future and we just want to tease you guys a little bit more, I'm thinking he means that they want to really explore a good-ass way to really bring Crash back in terms of a new game, be it a reboot or something else, but we're thinking it's a reboot, and then continuing from there. So that way Crash can get more games. Because what you could do technically for this return for Crash, all they can, if they wanted to do the most like, he's back and then there you go, you guys wanted it, there it is, the most of that they could do is this, and just this. The Crash in Skylanders and HD remaster. Okay, well I guess that's it for Crash, that's his legacy. Like, you could do that, we're not gonna really like that, but I mean, I don't want to sound selfish for the fan base. The fan base is selfish. It's not like we want more, we want more, we want more. It's just more of like, we want to see this icon come back and to his former glory days in the modern time. And they're already taking the most babyest steps, whatever. They're taking baby steps towards that with Crash and Uncharted, all the stuff we've talked about in the past. But if they want to keep making Crash games, then the best thing to do after the HD remaster is to make a reboot, like late 2017. I think that'd be really cool. And we're already getting, Crash and Skylanders is the closest thing right now celebrating its 20th anniversary since it's coming out in October. But the HD remaster is also kind of, I think, a later homage to Crash for the 20th anniversary because it's the first 3 games remastered. And if you want to continue making Crash games, I would just say a reboot should be in order. And don't go like full out, like out there. I mean, in terms of like I was saying earlier, just keep it kind of like Ratchet & Clank, to where it pays, super homage to the first game by taking elements and then what have you from that game and reworking it into this new rebooted game, and then you can create the new stuff and have new places and hopefully even have an expansive story. That'd be really cool to see. An expansive story for Crash, it'd be cool to see. So with that being said, what do you guys think? Is this a tease for like a reboot or something else after the HD remaster, or do you think he's just talking about the HD remaster? I'm trying to be optimistic, but I'm not trying to be like, yes, he's talking about a reboot. Like, I don't know yet. But that's kind of what I'm getting. Those are the vibes I'm getting. So what do you guys think though? Let me know in the comments below. I'm Marcelo. I'll see you guys later. Take care. I just want to see freaking character portraits and artwork and everything of everyone in HD for the remaster. That's what I want to see. I'm still waiting to see that. Maybe we'll get something by December or November, whenever they want to have their PSX 2016 Expo. Sweeping. See you guys later. Take care.